Oh, the baby took off. She's going up the other stair. Careful. Thank you. um, so that's what we're here for. That's what we're here for. We're all family. So what we're going to do now is we usually do worship in the beginning. We're going to do worship at the end because I have 3 worship songs that are designated for family. Okay. Because that's what we're here for today. We're not doing something normal that we normally do. So are we live, son? Okay, cool. So let me introduce you to Andy Garcia. He was born in 1937, February 4th, 1937, in a coal miner's shack. They pay the Dr. Cole to deliver him. So this is Andy. Today's his birthday, or would have been his birthday. Now, I'm going to get a little emotional during this whole time, so bear with me. My grandpa was the wisest man I've ever met in my life. And to say that he did not have the Holy Spirit in him, I could kick myself because that's where it came from. He served in the Vietnam War. If you look at the bottom, if you get a chance here, take a look at this picture. You will see my family tree. Lipstick and boots started my roots. My Nana had a rule. You don't leave the house without lipstick. Period. You don't leave. And if you do, you're in trouble. Before my grandpa would come home from work, she would put lipstick on. And they were together since they were kids, 15 years old. So 15 years old, they found love. They couldn't get married until they were 17. So at 17 years old, my grandpa Max said, yes, you can have my daughter. And he took full advantage. So that's when they were married, very young. That started their lives. They had 5 girls, no boys. They had 5 daughters: Kathy, Lori, Juanita, Monica, and Kathy, Lori, Juanita, Susie, and Monica. There are 2 living today. Susie was the first to pass at 7 years old in 1956. She had a brain tumor. And now that I'm a Christian, I know that was the introduction to the enemy trying to stop my grandparents' growth. When they tried to pull such a big part of their life out while my grandpa was at war. So my grandpa came back from Vietnam. They buried their daughter, and he had to go back. So my Nana was left with 4 little girls by herself to grieve for her daughter. Imagine how hard that is. So all the girls are pretty close in age. The next death, when Auntie Susie died, I was reading my Nana's diary, and there were 10 deaths in that year of her family. 10 deaths. Her brothers passed away, her uncles, and then her dad. And her dad was her everything. So when my grandpa Max passed away, it was very hard for her. This picture here is this is my grandparents here. And then this is my grandpa's parents, Ben and Mary. And this is my grandma's parents, Mary and Max. So very strong genes, very strong family. They were Catholics. But my grandpa, he talked about nothing but faith. Faith. And I honestly didn't think that he had a good relationship with God, but I was sadly mistaken. Sadly. Because when he passed away, all I found was gospel CDs. That's all I found. So he had a relationship with God. He did. And anytime he talked to us, he said, keep your faith, stand strong, faith, 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 faith. So he drilled that in us. He's the reason why I am confident. He's the reason why I lead with confidence, because he told us that. He was a leader his whole life. Take a look at down here. You'll see all of his pictures. He had like 24 platoons he taught. So that's only just half of them, and I couldn't fit them all in there. But this man was amazing. Amazing. When you met him, he didn't cuss. He never cussed. He would cuss in front of men occasionally, he said. But when the women were around, you don't talk nasty. You don't talk about men stuff. You make sure that a woman feels respected, and my Nana always felt respected. So I'm going to, this was something that I recorded. He said, he never let me record really, but he said, I want you to record this for my great grandsons. You see, he had 2 granddaughters and then 2 grandsons. I had 3 boys, and his other granddaughter had 3 boys. So he has 6 great grandsons. He wanted boys so bad, he eventually got them. And he loved them. Elias can vouch for that. Junior can vouch for that. He loved his great grandsons. He would always try to teach me how to throw a football. He would always try to teach me how to golf. Didn't do it. I'll do miniature golfing. Sure, Grandpa. We can miniature golf, but no golfing. And he would do it. In the summers, we were so blessed because he wouldn't just take us to Ilitch's one day, Lakeside the next. Some days we would get up at 8 a.m., visit Lakeside, and then Ilitch's, and then Casa Bonita, and then miniature golf, all in one day. As beat as we were, he stood strong. We went to Disneyland, me and my other cousin, and it was just me and him at that time. I was 12. And he had we couldn't do what we wanted. It was an agenda. You're going to wake up, you're going to eat breakfast at this time, shower, brush your teeth. Like, it was all written out. And we followed it. I am not organized. I am not an organized person. So for me to follow that, that's a miracle. One time he packed us all. There was 15 of us in a van. It was probably illegal, but he put us all in there and we drove to California. We drove to California to go to Disneyland, Knott's Berry Farm, Universal Studios. He made sure there was memories made. He made sure of that. And even when the boys came along, he always made sure there was something. They owned a huge land out in Lafayette, and he would have to ride the lawnmower to mow the lawn. So all generations would sit on that lawnmower with him and mow the lawn until we could do it by ourselves, because he was training us. We thought we were having fun, but he was training us. He taught me how to ride a bike. It was a 1979 banana seat bike. It was orange, and the paint was peeling off. I think I was like 8. I was a slow learner at that point. So I learned how to ride a bike. At that point, I still have gravel marks in my knees from falling. But he kept telling me, come on, Danis, get up. Danis, get up. He wouldn't call me Delaney. He didn't call me Delaney until I was like 25. The minute I was born, he called me Danis. And I don't know why. I have no clue who Danis was. He probably does. But that was my name, Danis. So I have a tattoo right here. This is the house they owned in Lafayette. Then there's a little girl riding a tricycle. There's a little girl riding a tricycle up the sidewalk that has a backpack on that says Danis. And the tricycle has little rainbow strips coming down. And that's me. That's me right there. And this is my home. Over here, this is my family tree. So in the middle are my boys' names, and on the roots, my grandparents' names are carved in there. So the roots are formed into their names. This is me. This is my life. And I value this so much now that they're gone. But it was meant to be this way. My grandpa died on the 8th. My nana died on the 12th from COVID. Now, COVID was a big thing for them. This is why I want to mention this. When COVID first started, they were full of fear. So full of fear. We couldn't come over. There was no Thanksgiving that year. There was no Christmas. We couldn't even walk to the porch to say hello to them. And that went for 2 years. They didn't let us. So, what does the enemy do? Knowing that fear is there, he comes in and he takes full advantage of the fear. Now, COVID may have been the cause of death, but fear was the path to that. Right. So the reason I'm sharing this part of it, as sad as it is because we can prevent that. We can prevent that as Christians. Where there's fear, the enemy will trail. That's why don't talk about being afraid of anything. Don't be afraid of anything. Have no fear. The only thing you should fear is God. And that's not in a scary form. That's, I'm going to do what you tell me to do so I can do what you want me to do. And then we will both live a happy life type of fear. So the enemy knew COVID was a problem for them. That's how they went. The nurses both said they could get through this. They can get through this. I've seen worse cases. But the fear is what did it. So I'm not mad. I'm mad at the enemy. That's who I'm mad at. Don't mess with my family. Don't mess with my family. So in Jesus' name, I stand for protection for every single one of us in here and every single one of us out there and every single one of us, generations and generations, kids, grandkids, aunts, uncles, grandpas, parents. I don't care. I stand for that. So no fear. And that's why I brought that up. My grandparents lived a very blessed life. They gave us a very blessed life. It's unfortunate that they're not here anymore, but the way that they went so close together, it was bound to happen. People that are so in love like that cannot survive on this earth without each other. Period. So if you get a chance, take a look at this picture. What I'm going to do now is take you to a video. He made this video for his great-grandsons. Now, everything that he said in this video, he has told me numerous times, and he's told everybody in his life numerous times. He was a control freak. So, he liked to have that control. And it wasn't a bad thing. We needed it. At Christmas dinner, he would write down our names and put them at place marks. No joke. And if we tried to move them, I don't want to sit by my cousin John. I want to sit over here. Oh, no. You don't do that. There's an organization. And if you do that, you're washing dishes. Because you don't do that. Period. And matter of fact, he would make us be involved. Here, Danis, go ahead and write down the names. Write down the names and place the cards. Okay, Grandpa. No, not like that. No, not like that. Don't do it like that. Okay. You tell me how to do it then. And we would do it. As stubborn as I am, I didn't argue with my grandpa. Period. Ever. So let's go ahead, and I'd like to introduce you to Andy Garcia. That's Andrew Garcia. So those that have met him know he has a sense of humor. Can we turn the lights back on? He has a sense of humor. He he told dad jokes like nothing else. Like I wish I wrote every single dad joke that he said because there were some funny ones. But listen to those wise words. She gave me little tiny lipsticks. Thank you. Um, as you know, I always wear lipstick. I have my lipstick all the time with me. I just don't have it on because I ate. But that's Nana. That was some wisdom from him. That was what he drilled into us our whole life. That's why Flourishing Faith is the way that it is, because he had a part of it too, whether he'd know it or not. I don't stand up here with the confidence that I stand up here with without that man's word. That was one of the most important men in my life. So huge impact, huge. Everything that I did, I thought what is Grandpa going to say about this? That's why I never took the wrong path, to be honest. All my friends were out there hanging out, doing drugs, messing around. Would I be there? Yeah. But would I do it? No. I would not engage. I would not participate. I would just be a bystander. Because I knew Grandpa would be disappointed. He always would say, don't follow the crowd. You don't follow the crowd. You lead the crowd. If something's happening where you can control the situation, change it. If somebody is causing problems and you can get in there and say, hey guys, let's go this way and change the group's mind, do it. My grandpa was he was a leader in the military. He went out to be a leader at Rocky Flats. He was a bus driver. He was a leader for the kids. So he was a leader to his daughters. He was a leader for us. He was a leader for the boys. So he knew exactly what we needed. Did you eat beans? Are you all right? I thought you were choking. I'm sorry, coughing. Who was coughing over here? Anybody? Oh, sorry. I'm hearing things. So that is part of my life there. You guys didn't know that. And normally we would have a Flourishing Faith meeting and we would jump into the Bible and stuff like this. But this day is my grandpa's. This was his birthday. And if we didn't have this type of meeting, we wouldn't have had a meeting, guys, at all. I'm still healing. I'm still getting through it. It's day by day, minute by minute. Huge loss, huge. But knowing that they're in heaven helps a lot because I know I'm going to see them when I get up there. And when it's my turn, they're going to be there for me and white robed up. They're already white robed up. They already have their white robes. They're good to go. You know, I don't remember my grandpa ever being mean to anybody. I can't remember him being mean to anybody. My Nana, on the other hand, she was the one. She was the one. But right. But he always, if she was mean to somebody, he'd always come up behind her and be like, "Hi, how you doing? I'm Andy. Hi, nice to meet you." Stern handshake was very important to him. If you shook his hand like a wimp, he was going to tell you something. You shake somebody's hand like you respect them. Stern handshake. And that's what he taught my boys too. No weak handshakes. No, oh, nice to meet you. No, you are a man. You shake that hand. Nice to meet you. That's Andy. He made his mark everywhere he went. Anywhere he went in Lafayette, everybody knew him. And they knew us too because of that. Oh, you're Andy's granddaughter. Yes, don't tell him you've seen me here. But, everybody knew us. Everybody knew us. When we were little kids, we were part of the VFW. We were washing dishes in there, or serving steaks, or hanging coats, or whatever position we needed to do. He made sure we were working. There was no rest, but we were rewarded. He taught us young. He's the reason I started work at 14 years old. There was no rest. You want something, you get it. That's what he taught us. Now, my Nana's over here. What about me? Because that's how she was. So Grandpa was born in February. Nana was born in June. So they weren't their age, they were the same age. When Grandpa went to the military, she was, I think, 17 years old, because he went early. He said he was older than he really was. And he went early. And he jumped in there early. He didn't want to stay home. He wanted to get to work. They were drafting, and he wanted to go. So he went. When he retired, that was not the end. When he retired from the military, he went on to work at Rocky Flats. When he retired from bus driving, there was no rest. He retired from bus driving probably at 65, 66 years old. And then he would go to the cemeteries and put up the wreaths every year. Every Memorial Day, he would go over there and put the wreaths up by himself. He would walk that full Lafayette Cemetery and put every wreath on every single grave. That was his job. Fort Logan, he would go up there every year and take my aunties a wreath. Every year. Matter of fact, when he passed away, the wreaths are still in the back of the van. So there's a big stack of wreaths in there. He made his mark. They made the mark. They made a mark that we, as Christians, should be leaving in this world. Leaving respect everywhere we go. Love everywhere we went. A trail of it behind us, to where that person that we just encountered felt so much love that when we walked away, there was a trail of love leaving us that they could follow and they can find it again. That is the love of God. I didn't know it as a kid. I didn't know that. And I'm sorry that I didn't know that, because I thought they were just hanging out. Now that I know that the world is as ugly as it is, that is what the world needs, is an Andy and Mary. That's what they need. That's what we needed, was an Andy and Mary. Just because they're not here anymore doesn't mean that we can't represent what they loved, what they lived for. My Nana loved God. Loved God. But she was a Catholic, but she loved God. Loved him. And you knew it. She was not happy when I became a Christian, to be honest. She wasn't, because that religion that I grew up with, I didn't want anymore. So she wasn't familiar with what I wanted. She didn't get to know it either, unfortunately. But I know now that she still loved me regardless. She maybe didn't like my choices, but if she only knew, I was doing it for her. I really was. I am. Sorry, guys. I am doing it for her. I am doing it for them. I'm doing it for my mom and dad. I'm doing it for my kids. I'm doing it for me. I'm doing it for my husband. Now, some of you know I have a husband. Some of you don't. He doesn't come around. He's immobile. So I do it for my husband. I do it for us. I do it for us. So seeing Andy And if that's the first time, I think everybody has, I mean, on this, you guys, this is the first time you've seen him. Everybody over here knows him. But take that, what he said, with you, because that's God. That's God. Him speaking that way and the wisdom that would come from him, that's the Holy Spirit, period. And I'm sorry I didn't see that when he was here. Because then I could call him out and say, "Good Grandpa, I see the Holy Spirit in you." And he would have said a dad joke and we would have moved on. He would always joke around and say, "God's a woman." Why, Grandpa? Because have you seen this world? Have you seen this world? That's what he would say. God's a woman. I'm like, no, God's not a woman. It's written in the Bible. It's a man. He. Okay. And it was a joke. He knew who God was. He knew, but he had his jokes. So, does anybody want to share a story of Andy or Mary? Auntie Rosie? Tilly?
Anyway, I know Andy. We used to see each other at the school and when he was driving the bus. And you're right. He'd sit there and we used to talk, wait for the kids to get out. And he goes, watch one kid there. He runs and stops and says, "I am not getting in that bus." He says, "Why?" "I'm scared of the bus." He goes, "There's nothing to be scared of." So he run back in, and this is the truth. He run back in. The teacher had to bring him and put him in the bus. He go, this happens every day. Every day. He was such a trip. He was so much fun to talk to. And the FW and all that. I mean, when we had our parties and all that, he loved people so much. And they are both going to be missed a lot.
Well, his thing was people want to hear what's wrong with you so they can bask in it. They want to hear what's wrong with you so they can say, ha, 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 ha. No. So he would. You're right. He didn't tell nobody nothing, even when he was sick. And the thing is, when you tell him, "Grandpa, how are you?" "Don't ask me how I am, because then it reminds me how I feel," he said. And this was at the end. "Don't ask me how I am, because then it reminds me I don't feel good." Okay, well, you've always taught us to say, "Hi, how are you? Good morning." The manners, the greetings. So I would still ask him, and I'd get in trouble for it every time. "Hey, Grandpa, how are you doing?" "I'm all right." But yeah, he was very private. You only knew what he wanted you to know, and that was nothing. And that's why I am the way I am. I think, you don't know nothing about me unless I tell you. So he drilled that stuff into us. I didn't know I had God in my life as much as I did until they passed. I knew that I had that religion. They try to teach me that Catholic religion. I could never get it. Never got it down. Could never, even catechism. I did all my sacraments. I don't remember a single thing that I learned from any of those catechism classes except for the snacks. That's all I remembered until I came here. I had never picked up a Bible, ever. 5 years ago, I had never picked up a Bible. So when I walked into these doors and Pablo's watching me in class like an eagle, and I'm struggling. I can't find what I'm looking for. I'm flipping, and he's watching me. And at that point, he knew that I knew nothing because I was seriously lost in that book. Now, you tell me where to go, and I'm like, wide open. That was 5 years ago. When you walk in and you never touched the word, and then you get fully immersed into it, it changes your world. Just very briefly, for some that don't know, when I walked into New Creation Church, I was a Catholic that attended church maybe once a year. Maybe. Or a funeral. Yeah. So for me to walk into here, Pablo, and I've told this story before, but I am going to tell it again. It was the Easter play of the Passion of the Christ. Janaea was playing the little girl, so I came in to see her only. Wasn't coming to see God. Wasn't coming to see Pastor Mario. Wasn't coming to see anybody that I didn't want to see. I was seeing Janaea. Walked in, did the whole thing, did the whole 9, seen Janaea. Walked into the sanctuary. Okay. Where's the baby? Oh, she's right there. Walked into the sanctuary and it was red because they were doing the scene where Christ was on the cross. And it was pitch black and the red lights come on and Jesus is on the cross. And if Dave was here, he would have told me who it was on the cross, but he's not here. And Pablo starts doing what Pablo does. And my eyes closed and I literally felt everything drained from me. Literally. I was a witch. I was a white witch. I was part of things that I should never have even jumped into ever. I was, and a lot of you know this. This is my testimony. I was a medium. I was, I was an extra. No, I dabbled in angel cards. Satan is a liar. Satan is a liar. And anything that I was dabbling in could have put me directly into hell. Directly. No side path, no nothing else. Directly, you're going to sit next to Satan and that's it. I didn't know that. I had no clue. I thought it was helping people. Thought it was helping by handing out crystals and being a crystal person and a hippie and like all this and that and universe and world and this and that. Nothing to do with God except for when I was doing my cards. So when I came into New Creation Church, all of those spirits and those demons and everything else drained out of me like a disease. I felt it. I felt the Holy Spirit enter here and go all the way through. And I'm a feeler. I can feel spirit. So I felt that. All of that stuff was part of my generational curses. It was all part of my generational curses that I was going to be breaking, that I still stand today to break every single one of those. My grandparents are gone. I will still continue to break any type of generational curse that was left behind from my great-grandparents, my great-great-grandparents, because all of them were naive too. So now I can stand here and say, God turned me from a white witch to a blood-soaked, word-speaking, Jesus Christ worshiping child of God. God did that. No one else did that but God. So as I stand here today, every time we come up here, I'm still nervous. I'm still afraid of criticism or whatever else. But I stand with confidence, knowing my God will guide me to guide you. Any type of thing that happened in my past was washed away when I stepped into New Creation Church. It drowned. It was washed away. So that's why I can stand up here as a representative of God, of Jesus. Now, I've heard things, where'd you get your training? God. How do you evangelize? How do you know how to evangelize? God. I wasn't trained. Could barely get through high school. So for me to stand up here and say, I've been trained to read the word, I haven't. He taught me everything I know. He taught me everything I know. And he also took away everything I knew, which is great. Which is great because everything I knew was binding me to hell. Even the childhood upbringings, everything I knew was putting me somewhere where God did not want me to be. So now, how did this get turned into this? Because I represent my family. I'm speaking my testimony on what God did for me. Now, if you're into all that stuff, that's your ship to sail. Will I pray for you? Sure will. Because I know what it's like to be deceived by the enemy and say, hey, Delaney, come hold my hand and let's walk this way. And we're going to deceive all your other people and they're going to think you're helping them. I'm sorry. If I ever deceived you, and I'm speaking to the camera here, if I ever deceived you by handing you a crystal pouch or a crystal necklace or a card reading or anything like that, I apologize. I was wrong. I am willing to say that because I didn't know. Now I know. So, with that knowledge, if I was to return back to that life, I'm going to hell. I'm going to hell. So I don't even think about that. Anytime if you look out in this world, New Age is everywhere. Crystal this, and put your plants with crystals, and do this with crystals, and come get your reading, and tarot. And it's like the devil. It's the devil. That's the devil. So if you are watching this live and you are insulted, I apologize, but call me, message me, and I can tell you and show you exactly in the Bible where we are bound to hell. And that's the end of that part. From now on, I live for Jesus Christ, for my grandparents, for me, for my children, for my parents, for my family in general. So that's for you, Nana and Grandpa. If they knew that, they would have probably been like, yes, I love you. Keep going to church. Go to church every Sunday and do it in whatever religion or way or relationship you want to do. That's what they would have said. My grandpa would tell me, you can't control how people live. Hello, did you watch the video? You're right. You can't control how people live, but you can sure show them examples on how to do it. You can sure show them examples on how to walk the way that we need to walk. We've learned lots this past years. So I hope that video helped you. What we'll do is we'll take a quick couple minutes and Elias is just going to play some slides, some pictures of my grandparents while we play that playlist. You can probably just start it from the beginning of that playlist. And sure, yeah. Grandpa.
So one year for Christmas, so he always gives his grandchildren envelopes, their Christmas envelopes. And one year for Christmas, I didn't have nowhere to go, and I was living with Delaney, and she wasn't just gonna leave me hanging. So she called to ask if I could come. And when I got there, I had an envelope with my name on it. So I couldn't have felt more welcomed and more loved and more apart to be somewhere when I had nowhere to go. Thanks to Mr. Garcia. So let rest his soul.
Thank you all for being here and going through a not so normal Flourishing Faith meeting for Andy. He would have appreciated it. He would have enjoyed the food. Everything we ate was his favorites, except for we didn't have salmon patties or Vienna sausages. But he would have loved it. So, thank God for your family. Thank God for your children. Thank God for your grandparents and parents, because they're not here forever. We never know what's going to happen. Young or old, we can keel over tomorrow. As long as you know Jesus, you're in the right spot. So just keep on trucking, keep on going. Listen to Mr. Garcia's words, because they're pretty wise. All right. Thank you very much for joining us. Go ahead, son.